All right, July 3rd, 2019, still Wednesday, still the same day. I just did the other podcast. Um, all right, so I think. Hold up. Okay, there we go. So a consistent theme I've had every time I. Motherfucker. Hold up a second. God damn it. That was shitty. I just missed a job. Um, anyway, so a consistent theme I've had through this whole comedy journey is everyone telling me that I'm overthinking. That's a big thing. Really, my entire life, everyone's been telling me I've been overthinking. And as of recent, I've been working on just kind of going with my gut. Still listening to people. I still enjoy hearing what other people have to say and getting other perspectives, but I've just been trying to go with my gut more. And so, if I overthink, if that's just kind of how I work, then that's just how I work, and I'm just gonna adapt to that. But I'm going with my gut, and I think overthinking is just kind of my style. It's just the way I do things. And in that overthinking, I haven't really said it too much. I don't think I have at least, but my set, the jokes I've been writing now have been for an overall. It's an overarching purpose. Like I'm essentially trying to write an hour right now. I want to be able to film my own special, which I know is a lofty goal, is something that could even potentially be a bad idea, but that feels like the next step. It feels like that's the smart way to go about doing things. And the specials that I've always personally enjoyed are specials with a theme to it, where there feels like there's a point. Like let me look up some of them right now, real quick. Okay, I looked some up. So Chris, there we go. Chris Rock Tambourine is a really good one. You see a lot of maturity from like Chris Rock in his youth to modern Chris Rock from Tambourine. You see a lot of changes, and I just like the vibe of Tambourine. I like the way it feels. Bo Burnham Make Happy feels like another one of those specials that just haven't it has an overarching theme to it, and it feels like you've gone through something. Christopher Titus Norman Rockwell is Bleeding. Daniel Sloss Dark and Jigsaw especially. Drew Michael, I talked about it in a recent podcast, self-titled. Neil Brennan, Three Mics. Ari Shafir, Double Negative. Those are all on Netflix. I like specials that feel like there was a point to it that I feel like I got something out of it. It doesn't feel like, and don't get me wrong, I can enjoy just random jokes, but it doesn't feel like random jokes strung together. It feels like I was listening to a whole story. Um, and that's another reason why I like film. Is it's a big reason why I like the MCU is that it's this huge universe and all of these stories are able to happen in one confined space, and I really really enjoy that. And so that's what I want to bring with what I'm trying to write right now. So what I've done recently is I just started muting everybody on Facebook and on Instagram. Um, I yeah, so I don't no offense guys, like there's nothing to do with you guys, not a slight against anybody listening to this, but I have no idea what's going on with anybody. I don't look at anybody's posts. Like I just started to realize it was becoming detrimental for my own personal growth, and I was comparing myself to other people, but not in a good way. Like I think I talked about the last episode. Comparing yourself, I think, is really fun. It can be really healthy to be like, okay, well, how is this person doing this, and what can I do to counteract this? But when you're connecting your own worth to it, I don't think that's healthy, and I feel like that's what I was doing. So I just muted everybody. Like I post my stuff if I'm looking out for something specific, I'll just look it up, but I have no reason to keep checking my phone, which feels really nice. And I've been able to dig into more of what I've been trying to do with writing this hour. And so I feel like the thing that people have been misunderstanding about what I'm trying to do here is they all think I think people are interpreting what I'm trying to do is, oh, I'm the nostalgia guy. Like I'm just gonna be nostalgic. That's gonna be my hook. That's gonna be my voice, and that's not what it is at all. What I want to do is express the ideas of what it feels like to go from youth to maturity and to change. Like my in my personal life, I've just gone through a lot of changes, and you should write about what you know, and I know what change feels like. And so I think the easiest way to express those ideas is through comparing youth to age. And so I figured it was smarter to go piece by piece. So what I'm doing right now is I'm focusing on childhood, and I've been just building up a bunch of information about childhood, and now I'm starting to work on adulthood and that change. And I don't know if I'm going to do the in between the teenage years and all of that. I don't know. I don't know how that's gonna play out because I'm still writing it all, but that's my overall goal. It was like one of the other shows that really inspires me is Breaking Bad. And going into that show, the writers knew and the writers knew where they were going to go. They knew the ending. That was the most important part. It didn't like everything in between. They kind of had to go off the fly. They had a rubric, but they didn't know exactly what was going to happen. But it didn't matter because their focus was clear. Their ending focus was clear. And so that's what I've gone about doing with writing this hour. Which I guess to respond to another thing that people would constantly say is like, why don't you talk about the interpreting stuff? And one of the reasons for that is like that's not my passion. No offense to interpreters or deaf people or anything, but that's not what I get excited about. It's just kind of my job, and it doesn't fit into the goal or the purpose of this particular hour. So yeah, I'm writing new jokes now. From the perspective of being older. So taking, fuck me. All right, what the fuck was I saying? Oh, what the fuck? Okay. Taking each thing I've talked about as a kid and then translating to what that's looked like with 2020 vision and from an adult's perspective. So right now I'm working on trust. So and a kid, I do this whole bit about trust and how important trust is as a kid, and now and looking at that as an adult to a kid's perspective, I'm able to look at it in a way that I think is well rounded. And so now I'm working on what trust means to me as an adult, as a 28-year-old man. Who do I trust? Why do I trust people? When do I not trust people? And trying to break all of that down so that you can see the progression of somebody and how they change. Like, I don't know, all this stuff with people, like, I'll use Kevin Hart because I think he's the most recent example, where they're using something from his very, very, very long time ago past to attack him now is really unreasonable. And I think that, or I guess I hope that this podcast is a testament to that. As a real good example of like someone changes and people develop over time. And sometimes it is justified to stay upset with somebody, and sometimes it's not. And I'm sure there's plenty of people that are still very upset with me, and I'm sure they are welcome to be upset. But now, what are you gonna do? Either way, so that's my plan. That's what I'm working on, and I think it's a good idea, and I think it's gonna work out. Uh, Ending a little early.